The sun was setting over the crowded market of Ajar, casting a warm orange glow over the bustling stalls and shoppers. The air was thick with the smells of exotic spices and fresh bread. And the sound of merchants calling out their wares filled the air. Amidst the chaos, a lone figure stood out, a young scientist named Lyra. Her dark hair tied back in a tight braid. Her eyes scanning the crowd with a mixture of excitement and unease. Lyra had spent years studying the ancient art of transmutation, poring over dusty tomes and conducting secret experiments in her hidden laboratory deep beneath the city. And finally, after years of tireless work, she had succeeded in creating a device that could change the very fabric of reality itself. The device, a small crystal orb, pulsed with a soft blue light. And Lyra knew that it held the key to unlocking a new era of human progress. But Lyra was not the only one who knew about the device. A rival scientist, a ruthless and cunning man named Kale, had been tracking her for months, determined to steal the orb and claim its power for himself. And now, as Lyra navigated the crowded market, she could feel Kale's eyes upon her, watching her every move. Suddenly, disaster struck. A massive earthquake shook the market, sending stalls crashing to the ground and shoppers running for cover. Lyra stumbled, the crystal orb slipping from her grasp. And as she reached out to catch it, she saw Kale emerge from the chaos, his eyes fixed greedily on the device. With a fierce cry, Lyra launched herself at Kale, determined to protect her creation at all costs. But Kale was a skilled fighter, and he quickly overpowered her, pinning her to the ground as he reached out to claim the orb. Lyra struggled and kicked, but Kale was too strong, and she knew that she was running out of time. Just as Kale's fingers closed around the orb, Lyra remembered a crucial detail about the device's design. The crystal, she had discovered, was attuned to her own unique energy signature, and would only function properly in her presence. With a surge of hope, Lyra focused all her energy on the orb, pouring her own life force into its crystal heart. The orb began to glow with an intense, pulsating light, and Kale's eyes widened in surprise as he felt the device's power coursing through his own body. But Lyra knew that this was not the true power of the orb, it was merely a trick. A clever illusion designed to distract Kale from the true nature of the device. As Kale stumbled backward, momentarily blinded by the light, Lyra saw her chance. With a swift kick, she sent Kale crashing to the ground. And then, in a flash of inspiration, she used the orb's power to transform the surrounding environment. The market stalls and buildings around her began to shift and change, reforming into a maze of twisting alleys and narrow corridors. Kale stumbled through the maze, confused and disoriented, as Lyra led him on a wild goose chase through the ever-changing landscape. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, Kale stumbled into a dead end, the walls closing in around him as Lyra stood triumphant, the crystal orb glowing brightly in her hand. "You should have stayed out of this, Kale," Lyra said, her voice cold and deadly. "The power of the orb is not for the likes of you. It is a gift, a tool for changing the world, and I will be the one to wield it." With a final, contemptuous glance, Lyra turned and disappeared into the crowd, leaving Kale to stumble out of the maze. Defeated and humiliated, the market was quiet once more, the earthquake forgotten in the face of Lyra's bravery and cunning. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, Lyra knew that she had truly come into her own, a master of the ancient art of transmutation, and a guardian of the secrets that could change the world.